What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga Live. We have a packed show today, as always. Coming up right now will be Ben Rabizadeh. We will be talking about a new pick from his. Of course, Ben is the one that gave us Air from live trading, or story trading, sorry, and Air just skyrocketed after he came on the show and pitched it. So excited about his new pitch. After that, we will have Nurosene CEO Ranj, and then after that, Matterport CEO Pittman. Nic Chahine will be joining us at 1:30, and somewhere squeezed in between there, we will get to some live Benzinga trivia. Should be a great, fun, informative day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the show started. Let's hit.
This is Benzinga Live. Spencer Israel and producer AB. What's up, everybody? How we doing?
Someone told me buy high, sell higher. So.
Let's get Matt Hammond on the show to talk some IPOs. Jake Wujasek from Trend Spider. We have a breaking news.
Ben, how is it going? It's great to get you back on the show. Apologies for, did you tell me how to pronounce your last name? I always mess it up.
Yeah, Rabizadeh.
Rabizadeh.
That's it.
Am I doing it right?
That's good.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and get your screen share. We will get your slideshow up and we'll get to your new stock pick. Again, Ben is the one that brought us Air, DRIO, SMSI. So Ben, I'm excited to learn what your new pick is. I know the rest of our audience is. So let me know when you have your screen shared, and I'll go ahead and pull it up.
Okay, sounds good. Hope you're holding up in the market turmoil.
Yeah. Just a quick note before we start off. Let me bring my screen back up here. SPY is up right now, almost 2%. So a strong day. We look at these daily candles after a couple red days. The SPY's coming back, so it's good to see the markets bouncing back today after a couple red days. Like I said, buy the dip worked again, Ben.
Great. Well, we'll see what happens. All right. So thanks for having me back again. We have we have a problem with the flickering there?
Yeah. You want to try refreshing your screen maybe, and we'll see what happens.
All right. There we go. How about that?
All right. Looks like we've got it. No flickering this time. Here we go.
There we go. Quick disclaimer, story trading is not an investment advisor. Investing in securities involves significant risk of loss. So I have a new pick. It's a COVID play. This is actually a story trading VIP pick as of a few nights ago, Monday night. Let me tell you a little bit about how I got into this before I reveal the name. Last Friday, it was Black Friday, and the market was in turmoil. There was that new COVID variant that came out, and I had a COVID watch list that I've had from a long time ago, back in the day, the first time this happened. So I caught a stock there that caught my eye. I said, let me do this for a quick day trade. In fact, I day traded a couple stocks that day. I ended up holding the stock on Friday because I liked the trading action. And then Friday, right after the market closed, I started researching it, did some fundamental research. I really liked what I saw. I ended up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every day this week, adding to my position, adding to my position, adding to my position. It is now my largest position on my portfolio. It's the only stock I've been adding in this market turmoil environment. It's been pretty much up every day since Friday. So what is that COVID play, that new VIP pick? Ticker symbol XSPA, Express Spa. That's right. This is a company whose core business is, or I should say was, spa services in airports. X-Spa was almost decimated from COVID. They almost disappeared. Their stock price went to a split adjusted 15 cents before they completely reinvented themselves. I have a really exciting, good, comprehensive presentation for you. I'm going to try to go through it as quickly as I can because I know you have other guests. But stay tuned till the very last slide because I got a mic drop on the very last slide about X-Spa. All right. So Express Spa, as I said, started as a spa, but they reinvented themselves. What did they do here in the past year and a half? They created an umbrella group, Express Spa Group, and created two subsidiaries, Express Check, which is the COVID play that we're going to talk about, and also treats. So now they have three components. Their legacy business, Express Spa, Express Check for COVID checking at airports, COVID testing, and now this new service, Treat, which we'll get into a bit later. So Express Check, maybe you've seen it at some of the airports. This is what it could look like at some of the setups in the airport. This is their major business. Now, before I get into the story, I want to show you the chart. What's the story behind the XSPA trade? What we try to do at story trading is understand price action through the four pillars of sentiment, catalysts, fundamentals, and technicals. And you can see here, I've annotated some things here. We had the COVID crash. We had them reinventing themselves with the plans to go into COVID testing, use those facilities in the airport for COVID testing. You see the volume surge coming in. The price surge started happening when they started getting traction with their plans. Then you had all the COVID plays pulling back because vaccines came in. You had a secondary pop here because they had some additional traction, but because of poor sentiment with COVID and because of some offerings they did here, it didn't take hold. And then you get into this long consolidation period where COVID plays are basically left for dead. So that's the story until Friday. So what happened? First, let's go into the fundamentals. We did talk a little bit about those three things. So they did an offering. They did probably a series of offerings over the past year and a half to really dramatically improve their balance sheet. We'll get into that in a second. They just reported Q3 earnings, which we'll talk to. They flipped to profitability, their best quarter ever by far. It was a blowout. They also have this CDC pilot program, which you may have heard of, for border control of infectious disease monitoring. That's some optionality upside in the business. So we'll get into more of all of this stuff. Here's a few charts you can look at. You can see they have lots of cash now, over 100 million in cash, very low enterprise value, even though their business is doing 10 times better than it was when the enterprise value was much higher last year. You can see their sales and profit exploding here in the last quarter. You can see here another way to look at their valuation. The EV revenue ratio is at a low, basically, very low. If it gets anywhere near those multiples, you can see the possible returns over here. But let's dig into the Q3 earnings report. This is the best results in company history. It's just like a week ago, or no, 2 weeks ago. Best results in company history. $27 million in revenue, 5.6 million net income, 8.7 million adjusted EBITDA, 109 million cash, and only a 90 million enterprise value. You do the math there to figure out what you think this might be worth fundamentally. They also are guiding for 500 million in revenue by 2025. They're doing a share repurchase program that's active. They already bought 250,000 shares last quarter out of 15 million share repurchase program. And they also have that 2 million CDC pilot program, which 75% of that revenue is going to be recognized in Q4. That pilot program just started after the quarter ended. So that's going to come into Q4. A little bit more about this COVID testing, Express Check it's called. This just launched in June 2020. But they're really getting traction recently from Q2 to Q3, even though people think COVID's dying, their tests are going up sequentially, right? And really what's driving the revenue is they're offering now a rapid PCR test, which they charge $200 to $250 per test. They're doing set Q3 versus Q2, 789 rapid PCR tests a day versus 402, that sequential growth. That rapid PCR launched on March 29th. This is the one they do. They partner with Thermo Fisher Scientific on this Accula test. So that's the driver of all the revenue right now, the big part of the revenue. Now, the CDC biosurveillance pilot program, you want to pay attention to this. Lots of exciting news I'm about to share. This is a $2 million eight-week program announced August 13th, but it only started after the end of this last quarter. Okay, they said on the conference call 75% will be recognized in Q4. I have a feeling, well, we know, I think that's going to be accelerated, and I'll show you why in just a second. By the way, this program is a pilot program to test it out with the idea of expanding it. They launched this in 3 airports and testing people, biosurveillance of people coming from India. So what does biosurveillance mean? How they're doing it. This is important. This is kind of unique. I want to spend a second on it. This is not people coming and getting a COVID test. This is the Express Check at the airport, checking everyone. I think it's voluntary, at least now, but they're checking a group of people with a cotton swab, and they test it all in one run, right? And then they do that one test, and if there's a positive, they say, hey, there's someone positive in your group. You may have to go get individual tests. So this is much, much, much faster and efficient to do it as a group. It's called biosurveillance, okay? So that's the fundamentals, and a lot of exciting things just happened since Friday. So let me get into the catalyst, man. This is how I love my catalyst when I trade. I love them stacked. And this one's stacked with like nice, juicy, yummy butter and syrup. I mean, I couldn't get any better than this, a catalyst, right? So here we go. November 15th, we had the earnings blowout with that low valuation. A couple days later, November 17th, we get a price target increase from H.C. Wainwright to $4. I have no fear that this is one of those Wall Street games when they're trying to pump it up to do an offering. No offering here, guys. 100 million cash, and they're profitable. This is a real price target increase, and this was before what happened on November 26th, which was the Omnicare variant. You all know on Friday, the Omnicare variant, which drove the stock to go up, drove a lot of COVID stocks to go up. This one held its gains. Some of them, a lot of them pulled back. Why did this one hold its gains? We'll get into that. But look what happened. A couple days later, the CDC already expanded that pilot program. They added a fourth airport in Atlanta. You may have seen this on the news. It's all over the news. It's been on CNN, Mercury News, The Hill, everywhere. They don't have the ticker symbol XSPA, but this was a big story 2 days ago. Even made a huge segment on CNN with Anderson Cooper talking about this. When they're talking about CDC expanding surveillance, that's XSPA. That's exciting news. But no one said, hey, it's Express Check, except, wow, the cake goes to News 12 of New Jersey. They got it. Express Check. They knew what's up. So these are the catalysts that happen that are moving the stock. Now, future catalysts that may happen, there may be stricter international testing requirements. CDC pilot expands to full rollout. Add domestic testing requirements. Q4 earnings could be another huge blowout. And also that Treat company, that third company they're going into, that I'll talk about in a second. That's to sustain their business for the long term. It's a subscription-based travel health service. They're talking to credit card companies to provide this as a benefit to credit card holders. So we'll get into that.
Okay, Ben, we got to wrap this up real quick in the pitch, but I do want to mention, if you've been watching Benzinga for a while, you know that our CEO and founder, Jason Raznick, actually pitched this stock on pre-market prep kind of at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, and he was right on. So anytime you see a stock that's made a run like this, now come back down, and it's been beaten down for a while and starting to come back up, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, great. So let me wrap it up real quick. I'll fly through the sentiment. The sentiment's perfect here. There's lockdown fatigue, but they're going to do more testing. A couple things I want to get to. Risk of offering is real low. What are the worries? People are worried about risk offering. No way, that's not happening. Worries are management. It's terrible. They did all this stuff. And this is all new management that is overseeing this transformation. So that's invalid. I talked about Treat. They're transitioning. They're planning for the long term to do a subscription-based service. Quickly on the technicals, break the 200 DMA. That's why I got in on Friday. We have Rex, who thinks we got some resistance at 2, some at 3, and then boom, this could go much higher. So summary, fundamentals are great. Large cash position eliminates risk of a toxic offering. Catalysts are stacked like pancakes. The sentiment's a perfect storm for this. And here's the mic drop, the very last point I wanted you to wait for. Some retail, they're missing out because they have some misplaced concerns about prior management worry of an offering and worried about long-term poor performance of the stock. But look at this, guys. This tells a story. You know what this is? This is a chart that shows you institutions are buying, that purple line going up and to the right, 21% now. And the orange line, that's shorts covering. This is not some pump and dump retail meme stock. This is a transformational stock. It went from some stock that people think is a crap company to something institutions are buying. And this got me really interested. That's the mic drop. That's the story. Follow us on YouTube, Story Trading, and go to storytrading.com to become a VIP.
Beautiful. Go check out Story Trading on Twitter. Ben's got some great ideas. He does the due diligence on these stocks, so you don't have to, although I implore you to also do your own DD to make sure this is a stock you would like to own. Ben, thank you for joining. We'll have to get you back on when we have a little bit more time, and we'll do an update on Express Spa.
Sounds good. All right. Take care.
Talk soon, Ben. All right, guys, we're just going to be flying through the guests right now. Right now, I'm bringing on Ranj, the CEO of Nurosene. Pretty interesting company. Very excited about this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get Ranj on. Ranj, how's it going? Thank you for taking time out of your busy Thursday to join us here on Benzingo Live. How are you doing today? Uh-oh. We cannot hear you. Let's make sure it doesn't look like you're muted. So just if you can do me a favor, go to the cam/mic setting on the bottom of your screen and just make sure the right input is selected.
Try this one. Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
So Ranj, before we get started, do you mind just giving me and our audience a brief rundown of what Nurosene is? I know it's a company that's only a couple years old, so kind of what caused you to want to create this company, and what's the mission?
Yeah, so the company was founded in 2019 by a guy called Daniel Gallucci, who's an incredible functional neurologist based out of Toronto. And essentially what we've done is we've digitized the experience of you seeing a neurologist, and we brought those kind of like brain training, brain coaching exercises inside an app and made that available for everyone. So we're really focusing on, helping improve the functioning of people's brains by providing, daily actionable routines to help improve brain function and performance.
So Ranj, I know there are a couple apps out there that kind of, do similar things, such as Noom. What sets Neuro apart?
Yeah, so what we're really doing is we're monitoring stress and lifestyle factors that contribute to overall brain health. And we're monitoring, through a series of assessments. We're monitoring 4 key neurological networks that really helps us to understand the underlying biology of the brain. And that's really, really key when you're trying to really understand what are the factors that are affecting things like stress and anxiety, and eventually things like depression. So we're collecting all of this data and putting it through advanced AI to really really understand the mechanics of what's going on in the brain, and then giving people an opportunity for early intervention. And I think that's how we differ from a lot of the other solutions that are out there that are really kind of focusing on what's happening after you've identified a problem. We're trying to identify what's the problem and what you can do about it from an early intervention perspective.
Got it. So I understand there have been some pretty interesting kind of celebrity investors and endorsers, such as Michael Phelps. How have you guys gotten these big names on board, and who else is there besides Michael Phelps?
Yeah, so my own background is, I've done, kind of like been in the kind of like marketing and branding area for the last 20 years, worked with, companies like Beats, where I was, VP of corporate strategy, kind of leading that brand through the acquisition by Apple. And through my network, we've attracted a bunch of incredible people, both from the business side and from the celebrity side. So people like Michael Phelps, he's on our advisory board. And talking to Michael on a regular basis, he's always saying that he wishes he had an app like Neuro when he was going through his professional career, and he had some of the best physical fitness and nutritionists in the world, but never had the support and help when it came to things like stress and anxiety, even through his career. Also, we've got people like Nick Jonas, who has been fairly vocal around this space and has come on as an investor recently as well. And on the business side, we've really attracted some incredible people who are really kind of helping us, drive the charge around what we're building at Nurosene. So the former head of e-commerce at Apple, the global CMO of MasterCard, who also is the president of their healthcare division, people like Peter Carlisle, who is a manager of Simone Biles, who was, who dropped out of the Olympics, was very created a lot of profile at the Olympics to really take care of mental health. So obviously, people are really, addressing mental health at this time of destigmatization of mental health, but we're providing tools to really help them really understand what's going on and give them routines that they can actually incorporate into their daily habits.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a great thing, because mental health is something that affects all of us, if not personally, then someone we know, one of our loved ones, friends, etc. But hearing the stories from some of these big name athletes, whether it's Michael Phelps, Simone Biles, gives people that are struggling that notion that, hey, maybe it's not just me. Like there are people out there that are very successful that have to deal with this too. So I think that's a great thing that you guys are doing.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've launched this incredible app. So it's in the App Store right now. It's called Neuro. And one of the things that was really important for us was to ensure that we are taking all this data and analyzing it in a very meaningful way that can give an individual a personalized program and routine. And we recently made an announcement of an acquisition that we acquired an AI company. It's a company called Netromark that's traditionally been working with the pharmaceutical industry on helping to de-risk clinical trials. So it's a very advanced level of machine learning and AI, which is taking this data and analyzing in a way that can not only create something meaningful from an individual perspective, but can help us start identifying trends in population groups that allow us to start thinking about even opportunities for precision therapeutical solutions in the future as well. So lots of opportunities coming from that.
So Ranj, how long has the Neuro app been on the App Store?
So the Neuro app's only just been in the App Store in a few months, and there's we're constantly making improvements to the app. You're going to see something kind of incredible in the next couple of months, which allows us to, as I mentioned, really assess people through a variety of tests that allow us to look into the 4 key neurological networks. We'll actually be expanding to a bunch of other neurological networks in the future. But it will actually start showing, where you fit on a stress curve, and what are the things that you can actually do about it, and then how you can adjust your program to ensure you're in that green zone that is for optimal brain health and performance.
So does the app track these kind of biometrics, in the background of your phone, or do you need to be on the app for it to be running?
Yeah, so you need to be, initially the version of the app right now, you need to be on the app, and we're collecting, active data right now. What's interesting, and you put this chart up on screen, is in the future we're going to be integrating passive data from things like wearable devices that are collecting things like heart rate variability, sleep tracking, movement data, from things like Apple Health and Google Fit, and we tested in these integrations already. And then in the future we'll go deeper with other biomarkers and other diagnostics. But for now, the app will on a regular basis keep on asking you a series of questions. There'll be various kinds of assessments that will constantly monitor you around, and really kind of monitor the things that are key for optimal brain health. So this is this 4x4 method that has been developed by our founder, which really tracks things like movement, nutrition, brain, being those brain training assessments, and recovery, making sure all these things are taken into account when considering brain health.
Right. And I mean, as we see, this industry kind of develop as a whole, as far as ways to address mental health, this data collection to me is very interesting, and definitely from the investor standpoint. Do you know what the total addressable market opportunity is for in this space?
Yeah, so what we've seen is over the next few years, it's going to be a $310 billion market segment. So certainly coming out of pandemic, people are starting to turn their attention towards mental health and mental wellness, but no one's really getting to the underlying root of the problem, and that's what we're really focusing on. What are those activities that you need to do to get blood flow to your brain, to activate your neurological networks, to make sure that you're feeding your brain with the right nutrition as well. Making sure you got blood and glucose all flowing to the brain, and that's what we're really getting to, is like that underlying biology and mechanics of the brain, and making sure that you can actually do something meaningful on a daily basis to keep your brain healthy.
So in essence, the app is a way for people to try to reach this more holistic approach to improve people's mental health through, those 4 pillars we talked about: nutrition, sleep, exercise, whatever it is. What's the revenue model? Are you charging subscription for app users?
So the app, as you see it right now, is free for users. So we believe in democratizing solutions, in the mental health space. Everyone should have access to an app like Neuro, rather than just the select few behind closed doors that can actually go and see a neurologist. But the revenue model takes us into a variety of different areas. On one side, we're seeing a massive opportunity in the corporate wellness space. So what we're doing is we're building dashboards around this Neuro platform that will allow corporates to start seeing what's happening in an organization, how the organization is faring on a stress curve, and and what the organization can do about them. Also, with this ingestion of this AI company, there's already revenue opportunities there, where they're already working with the pharmaceutical industry on this clinical trial process. So there's revenue from 2022 coming from both the app side, as well as how we're seeing the opportunity to continue to scale the opportunities that are in the pharmaceutical industry as well.
Got it. All right, Ranj. Well, we are unfortunately running out of time. Is there anything else that you would like investors to know about Nurosene?
I think at a time when people are turning their attention towards mental wellness, this is a critical app that all of us should be using on a daily basis. And in the process of collecting that data, we're going to be really gleaning incredible insights that allow people with early intervention, which leads us an opportunity to think about all the different therapeutic solutions that are available to people.
Got it. Well, Ranj, thank you for coming on Benzinga Live today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Thursday. We look forward to having you on again. Anytime you guys have news, just let us know, and we'd love to get you back on the show.
Will do. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, everybody. That was Ranj Bath, CEO of Nurosene, ticker MNNDF. That is on the OTC. Go check it out on the App Store, too. Like Ranj said, completely free to use, so no reason not to download it. See if you like it, see if there's anything on there that's helpful to you. Again, this is an issue, mental health, that affects everybody, whether it's you personally or someone you love. So I know myself personally, I'm going to go out and download this app just to check it out, But all right, guys, let's keep the show rolling. We do have a full slate today. So coming up right now, we will be bringing on the CEO of Matterport. That's RJ Pittman. As soon as he gives me a little thumbs up or something in the background that shows me he's ready to come on, I'll go ahead and bring RJ on. There we go. Let me go ahead and take this off the screen, throw the Matterport up on the screen. And without further ado, RJ, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Great to be back. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hope you had a good holiday, good Thanksgiving last week.
Hey, let's just connect here a little bit on some Go Blue goodness, huh?
Yeah, I don't know if you can't really see this well, but there's actually a Jim Harbaugh signature on the top of this helmet as well.
So, I have one for you. If I was at my other location, I've got a Wolverine helmet. Looks just like that one signed by Mr. Tom Brady.
Oh, he's a guy I've heard of.
Also a fellow Wolverine that we all know, and obviously a great football weekend last weekend, and we're certainly excited. Let's go Blue. Let's see if we can't knock out a championship here.
Well, I didn't know, RJ, that you were a University of Michigan alum, so it's great to have you on. Also, on the subject of Tom Brady, I've been watching that new documentary series they put out on him on Hulu. It's been fantastic so far.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome. So happy to jump in. A lot happening at Matterport. It's certainly been an exciting year for us.
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and get started. Let's back up for a second. I know you've been on before, and I know we've talked about the company before, but just for maybe some new people we might have here today, can you just give us the quick rundown on Matterport?
Sure. In summary, the headline is Matterport has been digitizing the built world for a decade. And what does that mean? We have created a technology that makes it now easy for anyone, including anyone with a smartphone in their pocket, which is just about everybody, to be able to capture the physical world in dimensionally accurate, photorealistic, true 3D, right? We make a digital twin either with our, pro cameras for very large spaces. We do high rises, hospitals, hotels, homes, airport terminals, and everything in between. We've done cruise ships, commercial airlines. If it's a physical space, it's probably been Matterported at least once. And more recently, we've been really advancing this technology, to really make it walk up simple for anybody to use, right? And so you had a slide in there that was showing all of the different sort of capture, we call it a camera for every space, right? And we recently launched Matterport.
Is that this one you're talking about?
That's the one right there, right? So you can use any of these kind of devices. We designed, build, manufacture that Matterport Pro 2 camera right there to the left of the smartphones. That's really been our bread and butter, a very key invention 10 years ago that has unlocked the power of 3D capture now for everyday smartphones. So I just expanded what I like to say is my capture network from tens of thousands of Matterport cameras that are out there in the wild today, now to several billion, right? There's 5.5 billion smartphones that are active today in the world, 1.5 billion new smartphones being added to circulation in the globe every year. And this is really unlocking what we say, the democratization of 3D capture.
Well, I think it's great because we hear about, AR and VR all the time. So it's good to finally get some like tangible use cases and seeing a company using it in real time and not just talking about AR and VR as some technology that's years down the road. I saw one comment saying it looks like you're joining us from the metaverse, your background. So that's kind of fitting with an AR VR company. So I'm curious about talking like a more tangible example. So how exactly would a company, well, I don't know what's going on with the slides, like Chick-Fil-A, like how does Chick-Fil-A use Matterport's technology?
Yeah, it's one of the areas that I would describe, well, let me say it this way. The fastest growing segment in Matterport for the last 2 years has been the enterprise. People know Matterport maybe from, where it all got started 10 years ago. We became the gold standard for 3D walkthroughs of homes. Kind of the gold standard for a virtual tour for an open house. Fast forward to today, we are now powering everything from Compass to Keller Williams at the enterprise level. We're now built into their technology stacks, their listing engines. Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com all use Matterport as the future of how to visualize a property before you rent it, before you buy it, and in fact, more homes have been sold sight unseen, powered by Matterport than ever before. Even 10, 20, $30 million properties. It's really, I see them every day popping into my inbox. I get all kinds of notes from buyers and sellers and real estate agents. It's extraordinary. Now, moving further into the enterprise, and you look at something like Chick-Fil-A or CVS, Walgreens, Home Depot, all using Matterport today to do virtual facilities management at scale. Right? These are companies that own not just hundreds, but thousands and even tens of thousands of physical locations. And all of these locations have to be maintained. They have to be maintained for code compliance, for brand compliance. They go through renovations and upgrades of all kinds, right? Even Starbucks has to maintain each and every one of their cafes and maintain and upkeep all of the equipment, et cetera. And now with Matterport, they take what used to be a boots on the ground, physical building inspection exercise with tape measures, pen and paper, let's call it, the old fashioned way. And we can now transform that into a digital experience where I can inspect and analyze 5,000 physical locations as fast as I can do a Google search, but instead you're doing a Matterport search to inspect a group of physical assets in real time, and you can get your insights in matters of seconds. It is absolutely transformative for how people think about managing buildings and facilities, hotels to Chick-fil-A's at scale.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you mentioned the amount of, I guess, homes that were sold sight unseen, as you said, because I remember as we saw this crazy housing market during the COVID-19 pandemic, that was one of the numbers that shocked me. Was I forget the exact percentage, but I've read some article talking about the percentage of homes being sold without the buyer ever even stepping into the house, which to me is fascinating and obviously not able to happen without technology such as Matterport's.
Yeah, I mean, it's really getting up there. Even before the pandemic, the year before the pandemic, Redfin is, for example, a big customer of Matterport's. We're great partners, that's the way I like to say it. And every Redfin listing, 100% of Redfin's listings have a Matterport digital twin on them. And why? Because homes sell for as much as 10% higher price and as much as 15% faster on the market. Why? Because you give them that buyer confidence of being able to walk through and inspect each and every centimeter of the property as many times as you want, right? Think about trying to do that in the physical world. You can't, right? You can't just keep going back to the house every day and every night. You can't bring in all of your friends and family to give you a second opinion so conveniently. With Matterport, we kind of changed the game in that regard. And in that year before COVID, 28% of the properties sold on Redfin sold sight unseen. 28%, right? And that number's just gone up.
There's that percentage I was looking for.
It's a big number.
Well, RJ, we got to talk, maybe off air about how we can get a Benzinga office tour set up through Matterport. So that way some of our audience can kind of walk through our office with us and make it feel like they're here with us.
Absolutely. Easy to do. All
right, let's do it. I've got a couple. So we talked about the Redfin partnership, but there's a couple other partnerships that I want to talk about. So I know there was an announcement yesterday regarding Amazon and Amazon Web Services. Do you want to go ahead and just give me the lowdown on that and kind of what it means for the company?
Yeah, this is actually a really interesting one, and it's a big deal. Amazon has been looking across. I mean, they're the category leader, in cloud computing and cloud services for the enterprise, really for everybody, right? Startups and the like. And of course, Matterport's infrastructure, all of our 3D magic that we do is done in the Amazon cloud. All of the spatial data that we're capturing now from the millions of buildings in 175 countries around the world that we have been digitizing, all goes up into Amazon. And what Amazon's realized as they look across their customer base, they're inspecting, well, what kind of data are people putting into the Amazon cloud? And how can Amazon be more helpful in getting more value out of that data through new analytic tools, new machine learning and deep learning models that they could run against large data sets to create an extended value proposition for being a customer on AWS. And one of the things they realized that there's a huge number of companies that are storing building operating data, machine data, factory production data, and performance data that's being gathered in real time from sensors and any kind of capture down on the ground in these locations, brought up into the cloud, for them to analyze and study and try to optimize the operations of their facilities. And so they've created a framework to enable all of these companies to organize their, let's call it their building and factory and performance data into a digital twin management system. And what does that mean? Well, it basically means, can Amazon start to help create, some of that new value by organizing and analyzing and turning up the performance and ROI of all of that data that's running through the Amazon cloud. And now to do that in a way that makes any sense, if you're a factory or you're a hotel and you're trying to organize and put into context all of that environmental building performance data, wouldn't it be great if you could actually do it in a physical digital twin of the space itself, right? So if you want to actually see the factory floor, you want to see where the equipment is running and performing in dimensionally accurate 3D, start with the Matterport digital twin, right? We're just the spatial data rails that can provide all of that visual context to wire in all of that data to the equipment and machinery as it exists in the physical spaces, so that once again, building inspectors, property managers, and even shift and production line managers don't even have to be physically at the location to be able to make sure everything's running smoothly and running, on time and as expected. And you can in fact bring in more people to manage these kinds of things virtually and remotely, because of course you can access, a Matterport digital twin from anywhere, anytime, right? So this is fundamentally going to just extend what we already do to the entire, universe of AWS customers. So, and it's because we're all in the same cloud and we're all using fundamentally similar technologies, the integration from Matterport to AWS to these other large enterprises is completely seamless. And we're going to make it really easy for everybody to, complete the digitization of their physical spaces where they already are capturing all of this data and putting it up in the cloud. It's going to be a game changer.
So RJ, I got to ask, between, when you see these huge companies such as Amazon, Facebook, or I guess now Meta, kind of shifting a lot of their resources toward this space, toward the AR, VR space, do you feel vindicated by that? Like, okay, we've been in the right industry. I've been in the right industry for the past 10 years or so, or is this something that you knew all along was going to happen?
Well, let's put it this way. Look, no question, we pioneered this concept of creating a digital version of the physical world, right? 10 years ago. And we've been on that journey we're digitizing now, hundreds of thousands of buildings and physical spaces every month. And my aim is to take that to millions, right? We have tens of billions of square feet of the world that have been digitized. And we've been doing it for practical reasons, right? There's a lot of discussion about the metaverse. Of course, there's been plenty of interesting, applications and wonderment around VR and AR. But, what we do is turn buildings into data so that you can extract value out of them right away. We talked about the ROI in residential real estate, right? In nightly rentals, Airbnb, VRBOs, et cetera. You have a Matterport digital twin, we lift bookings 10 to 15%. I mean, it is game-changing kind of value we've been delivering for a long time. People are trying to figure out, wow, this metaverse stuff sounds fantastic. Well, what's the revenue model? What's the business model? And gee, it sounds amazing. It's probably going to happen, but it's 5-10 years out. Well, we happen to be a company that's 5 or 10 years into it now and have created obviously a very practical and very, commercially scalable business out of it. And yes, we have a partnership with Facebook, now Meta, and one that absolutely meets right at the intersection of what Matterport's been doing and where Facebook and Meta are headed in really building out what I might say is, the practical and commercial version of the metaverse. And do we benefit from that? Yes. Am I changing the name of the company? No. Matterport is going to stay operating right down the fairway of what we've been doing because it's so complementary to the concept of the metaverse. If you want to play an interesting, new version of Fortnite, if you want to host a virtual meeting, if you want to invite people into your studio to hang out in there virtually while you're doing this broadcast, it all starts with creating a reality capture, a digital twin of that physical space so that we could move it into the digital universe or into the metaverse where then anybody could participate, build all kinds of new technologies on top of it. We're not going to compete with Meta or with Roblox or with Unity. They're all partners that are going to be able to build fantastic add-ons and layers of interaction and entertainment and what have you. But they all have to start with a digital reality capture of that physical world around us to actually make something interesting to do in the metaverse itself. So you can sort of think of us as, the data rails. I like to describe Matterport as the HTML of the physical world. We've created a standardized markup language that takes any physical space, brings it into the digital universe and digital realm, but it's an open ecosystem. Like the data is accessible to any developer, programmer, or partner that wants to enhance it in any way, shape, or form. And that's why, the partnership with Facebook is so interesting and why they're excited about Matterport.
Got it. Yeah, we have a term here at Benzinga that was coined by our CEO and founder, Jason Raznick, calling it the thing behind the thing. So it sounds like Matterport in a lot of ways can be that thing behind the thing in a lot of these developments that we see in AR and VR, whether it's from Facebook, Meta, or Amazon, or Roblox, Unity, as you said. So I like that you're not really viewing them as explicit competition, but more as partners to grow this space altogether.
That's right. And that's really been the strategy across the board. We have a great partnership with Apple. We now have a great partnership with Google and Android and Google Maps, where all of these Matterport spaces can be seamlessly published and uploaded to Google Maps and Street View, because essentially you can think of Matterport as the true 3D version of Street View for the inside of buildings, right? And we've got millions of buildings and properties, that are already being, integrated in with these big platforms today. Last thing I'll also add is, in addition to metaverse and such, we've been a major content provider to Facebook and Oculus for years, right? Matterport's been on the homepage of Oculus Web almost since the beginning, with some of the most extraordinary points of interest in the world, from museums to Pharaoh's tombs in Egypt, that you drop a headset on and every Matterport digital twin is out of the box, is VR enabled. And it is super immersive. It is literally like being there. And with such a library of the physical world growing by the thousands every day, we might be the largest, probably are the largest, source of content, for any VR platform.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's fascinating. Well, RJ, thank you for coming on the show today. I'll give you one last minute. If there's anything else you'd like to add that we haven't gotten to today, maybe, just to our audience of investors.
Yeah, there's two stages to think about with Matterport. First is, in the first 10 years, we created the category with a very sophisticated piece of technology that enables us to digitize the built world, right? We call that the digital twin. That's the multi-billion-dollar business we've been chasing and building today. But the second decade is all about what we describe as the datafication of the built world. What do you do with all of this data when you have it? And, maybe for another episode, I can go into the details of how we're transforming all of that spatial data and these digital twins really into the next digital economy going forward, right? We've been bringing in partners that are taking empty properties that we have Matterported that might go up for rent or for sale, like we talked about before, and now bringing in third-party add-ons, digital add-ons to virtually stage the properties with super high fidelity furniture that's three-dimensionally accurate, and you can drop it in and you can't tell the difference between, is this real furniture or is this digital furniture? And it's very similar to virtual currencies and buying armament and suits of armor when you're playing Fortnite and you're paying real money, to put on a new skin. Well, this is a much more economical way, for example, to digitally stage a property for sale that might be sold, sight unseen anyway, replacing, a cost element that might be $2,000 or $3,000 a month to move furniture into an empty property to stage it. You can now, for $10, digitally stage it and create access to that digital twin to tens of millions of people. So if you start thinking about the layers of commerce and the layers of customizations that can be made on top of any Matterport digital twin, the digital economy for that, I think, is far bigger than anything we've done to date with just digitizing the built world. In summary, Matterport's strategy, the whole is going to be far greater than the sum of the parts.
Got it. Well, RJ, thank you again for joining us today. I look forward to having you back on the show. Anytime there's news, let us know. We'd love to get you back on. This has honestly been one of my favorite interviews we've gotten to do on this show. Maybe it's just because we got to talk some football, or maybe
Go
not.
Blue. Heck yeah.
Go Blue. No, but like I said at the beginning, it's awesome that, we hear these words, AR, VR, thrown around as buzzwords all the time. So it's great to have someone like you on that has tangible examples of how this technology is being utilized. So RJ, again, thank you for coming on, and look forward to speaking again soon.
Great. See you next time.
All right, guys, that was RJ Pittman, the CEO of Matterport, ticker MTTR. Guys, I saw you guys talking in the chat about the stock price, and I want to get back in, but I want to wait till it drops to X price. Sometimes there are things you can't wait for drops like that. You just got to get in because the companies are going to be growing and whatnot. I'm not saying, everyone go out and buy MTTR right now. This is not investment advice, but just because I know from experience, there have been stocks that I've waited to drop to a point where I want to get in on them, and they never dropped to that point. They just kept going up. And today, stock's down a little bit. So maybe I'll have to add some to my portfolio. But guys, quick rundown for the rest of the show. We're going to be doing some trivia, some fun Detroit-themed trivia today. So whenever I see Rohan, the producers, once we're ready for trivia, we'll get that going. And then at around 1:30, maybe a few minutes later, because we're running late today, Nic Chahine will be joining us to talk some options. So smash the like if you are here for, we're going to learn how to trade some options. And in a good way, not the way I do, not like some YOLO trading. No, Nic Chahine is the man. He will get you set up on some trades that are low risk, high reward. But real quick, before trivia, I have an ask to make. All right, do you guys want a free piece of Benzinga swag? Let me pull up the swag store real quick. We do have some brand new swag that is very, very holiday spirit. We've got some ugly Christmas sweaters. We've got some Benzinga beanies. Let me go ahead and show y'all those real quick. Winter collection. Here we go. Some ugly Christmas sweaters, some Benzinga beanies. Like I said, here's what you got to do. Whether you have Robinhood or not, all you got to do is write an email, or if you have Robinhood, go to your account, go to contact us, and send a message to Robinhood saying, how much you love seeing Benzinga news on Robinhood, how Benzinga news is the best news source on Robinhood, how you want to see more Benzinga news on Robinhood. Send us a screenshot of that message to Robinhood. I'm going to put up the email that you send that screenshot to right now, shows@benzinga.com, and we will send you a free piece of swag, whatever you would like from the swag store. You know what? Just because I'm feeling generous today and because I'm in the giving spirit, do it to Robinhood, but it doesn't have to be Robinhood. Do it to E-Trade, do it to whatever brokerage you use, and we'll send you a free piece of swag. Extra swag if you do it for Robinhood, though. No, Shelly, don't send a message about my PDT. That was my fault. That has nothing to do with Robinhood. All right, guys. Like I said, put just in the subject line Robinhood or something like that so I know what you guys are doing when you email us, and we will send you a free piece of swag. I know I'm grabbing one of those ugly Christmas sweaters and maybe a beanie to go with it. My little ears get cold this time of year. No, Christian Gallagher. All right, y'all. What is the deal with trivia, guys?
What is the deal indeed?
Where are you coming from? I don't even see you in StreamYard.
Oh, no, I'm just a godly voice in the background. Folks, it is time for trivia. 1 second. We're going to magically appear. Bree, I'm going to remove this banner here if I can find it. All right, there we go.
Wait, real quick before we start trivia, though, Rohan, I want to show, because people are talking about Robinhood right now. I want to show real quick feature. So, again, you know, there's a lot of different brokerages out there. All, like anything else, different brokerages have benefits and drawbacks. This is one of my favorite parts about Robinhood. It makes buying stocks you want to buy so simple and easy. If I want to buy some Matterport, say, I'm not going to right now because I don't know if I'm even allowed to, considering I just spoke to the CEO. But if I wanted to buy some Matterport with a stop loss, right? All I have to do is put in, say I want to get stopped out at $27. I want to buy 5 shares. Boom, right there. I can buy it and I can know in the back of my mind, okay, if this gets to $27, the most I can lose is, say, 2-3%, whatever it is. Someone throw me a good ticker in the chat to buy right now, and I'll show you how we can do it real quick on a different ticker. Looks like NCAL likes ARDX. Let me see if slight delay, so I'll wait to see if we get any good tickers flown in the chat. All right, ARDX. It's the second time I've seen it, so I'm going to take that as a sign. We're going to do ARDX. Let's see. So it's, oh, wow, it's breaking out. All right, so I want to buy some ARDX. It's a $1.50 stop. I'll throw my stop loss at $1.20. I want to buy, let's say, 50 shares of it. It's going to estimated cost $60. Shoot. I think I'm screwing something up because it's telling me your stop price is below the current price, so your order will likely execute immediately. All right, what am I doing wrong, guys? Someone help me out. Oh, okay. Stop limit order. There we go. Stop limit order. We'll do 120. 50 shares. Why is it saying this?
I see Mitch laughing at you in the background. Should I bring him on to explain?
Yeah, bring Mitch on.
All right.
Oh, wow. Look at you guys. We're all here.
We're all here. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to turn Mitch's audio on. 1 sec. There you go.
I don't mess with stop losses usually, but I just found out how to do them, so I want to show that feature. But
so what are you trying to do? You're already in that trade?
No, I'm not in it. I'm about to buy some, but I want to add it with a stop loss.
Okay, so you're trying to trigger in an entry, right? That's what you're trying to trigger?
No, I'm just trying to buy it right now at $153 a share, and then if it gets down to $120, I'm out.
Okay, so first you got to buy the shares first do that, and then we can do a stop limit order.
All right, here let's start this over. All right.
So first,
this
market
is
order or limit order to buy, right?
No, I just do market orders to buy. I don't.
Okay.
All right, so ARDX suggested in the chat, it's a cheap stock, so this is a good way to kind of showcase this feature. I'm going to go ahead and buy 50 shares. It's going to cost me $77. Buy. You can see how seamless and easy this was. Average share price $1.55. Total cost $77.25. Done. All right, so now I have. Let me refresh. I have a position in ARDX. You can see right here, my average cost was right here. It shows my return. Now I'm down a little bit, but hey. All right, so if I go to sell, Mitch, I go to stop loss order, correct?
Yes, you can do two orders there. There's the stop loss, and there's a stop loss limit order. I'll explain both if you want. The stop loss is the one that you like, that's a market order to get out. The stop loss limit order is a stop. You place a stop as the trigger event. So let's say if it gets to 150, it will trigger that stop, and it changes that stop to put out a limit order to the market at whatever you put that stop loss limit order at. So there's two ways to go about it. There's a stop loss limit order or the stop loss.
There you go. And as far as different brokerages that I've used, I've found that Robinhood makes this process the most seamless. Like I said, the reason I use this app is because of how easy it makes trading for me. I don't have time to be monitoring my trades all the time or to be trading 5-6 hours a day like some of you guys in our audience. So to me, having a UI user interface that makes it this simple for me is really a good thing and allows me to free up the rest of my day.
Oh, and here's another thing. You got to be careful with that PDT. Remember, like the chat's talking about. Be careful.
I know. That's why I'm not going to actually submit the stop order right now, because if it gets to that price today, I couldn't sell that anyway. But
we don't want to see you on the SEC, man.
Now we know this is a for future. And yes, Richard Judge, Mitch is explaining it as if he's talking to a child. I wonder why. All right.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we all got to learn it at some point, right? Now you know it, right? You know how to use that stop loss.
Beautiful. Very nice. All right, guys. Time for some trivia.
Folks. What is going on? What is up, Zinger Nation? It is your boy Rohan. I'm back, COVID-free. I'm gonna just give myself.
You sound like you sound like you got Regeneron or something.
Nah, I literally I didn't have COVID. I had some sort of cold or something. I still have a runny nose, but that's about it, folks. But trivia. If you haven't played before, what is trivia? Essentially, it is a fun little game we like to play. Today, our theme is Detroit, right? Detroit motor vehicle.
It's less Detroit, more just motor city.
Ford, baby.
Out here in my truck. Anyway, so moving on from that, basically how you play. There's going to be multiple choice questions, a series of them, each one having 4 answers, each one having a number corresponding to said answer. The way you win is by answering correctly. You put the number corresponding to the answer you want in the chat, and whoever does the most answers and does them the fastest will be our winner and have all the glory associated with that. So, folks, if you are ready for trivia, I'm going to go ahead and get the countdown going, and just warm up, get your brain ready, get them juices flowing, and let's do this. I'm gonna add some music because music makes everything better.
Oh, Rohan, we got your Slack noties coming through.
The rest of the people don't. You just do.
Oh, LOL.
But that's okay. I'll mute it.
All right. I usually am probably the favorite to win these trivia things, but today I do not think so. I don't know too much about cars.
I honestly don't know what to expect. I like cars.
I know I need to get my blinker fluid replaced, but besides that.
All right. Well, with that, Bree, why don't you take that first question?
All right. Henry Ford was considered to be the first man to build cars for mass production. In which year? Was it 1, 1934? Was it 2, 1921? 3, 1913? Or 4, 1906.
Very nice. I like that little voice you had going on. Try to do your announcer voice.
That's my announcer voice, yeah.
I'm gonna go 3. Let's guess 1913. Why not? It might be 1906. Who knows?
All right, I'll go with 4 because the chat is saying 4, but 2 seems like the biggest car, right? The Model A. Was it made in 1921?
How should I know? I don't
think
know.
it was.
Somewhere around there.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I wish I had my stream deck to play.
Oh,
Fudge! Only 2 people got this right. Shout out Born to Be Free and Christian in the chat.
And me, bro. And me.
You didn't.
The chat.
You didn't submit it though.
Okay, yeah, but I said it.
All
All right.
right, well, Rohan, take lead.
Folks, what is the name of the luxury car brand owned by Ford? Is it Mustang? I think that's the brand that's crashing into crowds or something like that.
Whoa, too soon. Way too soon.
Too soon, bro. This has been happening since since Mustangs came out. 2, Lincoln. 3, Cadillac. Am I caddy? Or 4, Bugatti?
I think there's a problem with this question because it says luxury.
What, Lincoln and Caddies are both luxury brands?
Yeah, they're
nicer than stock Fords.
That's certainly
They're
true.
like what I take to the airport.
Yeah, if you get an Uber X, you're getting a Ford Focus. If you get an Uber Black, you're getting a Lincoln.
Well, you might just end up with like a Tahoe, but yeah. The standards of Uber Black, I feel like, are a little all over the place. But folks, yes, the answer is Lincoln, not
town
Abraham.
car.
But yeah, I mean, Lincolns are cool. I like Lincolns.
What are those, MKZs or something like that?
All right, it's all you, Mitch.
All right, General Motors first began toying with an electric vehicle in the 1980s. The model that is finally rolled out in 1996 was known as the 1 Volt, 2 Thunder, 3 Electra, or 4 EV1.
Oh man,
Yo, I have no clue.
I just learned about this because they displayed it at the auto show that year and everyone was like obsessed with it, but then there were problems with like the actual production of it. So while the car itself was great, especially for that time, the production capacity wasn't there.
I'm gonna guess Electra. No, I'll guess EV1. Why not?
I think it's EV1.
I'm gonna guess EV1. I know it's not the Volt. That's what they have right now.
I went 4.
You sure?
So Quattro.
You sure
I'll
it
go
isn't the
Fortune.
Volt?
The Volt is what they have now.
What do you just Google it, Mitch?
I don't know. I'm just going
Well,
with the
you were
Volt.
wrong.
Let's go. Let's go.
That's what happens. I went with the herd. Herd didn't lead well.
Yeah, they got a Volt right now. Certainly wasn't their first one though. All right.
EV1.
Nice. All right, is this me now? I think. The original Jeep, partially owned by Chrysler, was designed in just how much time? 2 hours? 18 hours? A year? Or a week? Folks, this is an interesting question, one that I've never heard before, don't know the answer to. But considering the original Jeep was like a box on wheels, I'm not surprised. I'm gonna say a week.
I went 18 hours, and here's why. Because it's got to be really quick, right? This question is saying like it was super quick to design. I don't think it was quite 2 hours. Oh, do we have Mitch was kind of frozen there for a sec. So I'm going 18 hours. I feel pretty good about it.
See, the thing is, I know this was designed for like military purposes, so I imagine like maybe they did it really quickly with that in mind. But still, like you got to think about like, wow. Well, good job there. That is impressive. 18 hours to put together an entire car. But
Yeah, look where it's at now. I mean, shows you what you can do in 18 hours. All right. In 1950, all right, sorry, hold on, let me restart it. In 1953, Chrysler built a jet engine car that could run on 1 wine, 2 peanut oil, 3 hydrogen, or 4 helium.
I'd imagine it's hydrogen. I guess it could be helium. Hydrogen's kind of a more popular fuel choice, I'd imagine. So I'm gonna say hydrogen. But yeah, I remember
the
the This car's actually pretty sick if you look it up. They like got like a full-on thing coming out of the trunk. It looks like a Batman situation.
I went with peanut oil as well, Money Mitch.
Yes, that McDonald's. That's all I need. I just go pick it up. Nothing like running your car on McDonald's oil, right?
This car runs on nut.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm. Oh, there we go. I was right.
All right. Well, I was not.
That oil, bro, running on that nut.
It's an interesting choice. I kind of want to know more about it. All right, Mitch, you got this one.
All right. What was the price tag of the first ever Ford Model T? Was it $850? One, two, $300, three, $2,000, or four, $150? Ooh, this one's a hard one. I'm gonna go ahead and say $850.
I'm gonna say 300.
I'll go with one.
I wish they had that 350 because that's like my favorite answer. But
just say it's $350. Don't worry. That was a tax.
I fricked this one up.
you all right there?
What you put?
I put 3 as my answer, trying to pick 300, but I put in 3, which is really 2,000, which there's no way. I mean, that would be like $100,000 in today's dollars.
That is that's a tough one. Oh, it is.
I would have gotten it wrong anyway.
Mitch, was that you? I think that was
Yes,
you.
it was.
Very nice.
Yeah, I would have bought
Very
it.
nice. Yeah, I caught that. All right.
Which? Go ahead.
Which one of these car manufacturers envisioned the concept of a mechanical heart pump? Interesting. First ever. This isn't a. No, it's not a pace thing. That's electronic. But, well, I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
I'm gonna go Chrysler. 'Cause do they ever do anything, innovative?
Hey, I mean, technically, they know how to put really fat engines in cars. With at least Dodge.
That's
does.
about it. Yeah, they didn't know how to do that one. Take up cubic space.
Make a
They can
solid
do that.
minivan, though.
Solid.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go. Yeah, screw it. I'll go GM because why not? Just hedge. Oh, hey.
GM it
Hey,
is.
look at that. Would you just look at that?
No one thought Ford. No one believes that Ford is making a heart pump.
Oh, whoa, Christian Gallagher, we have a winner. I don't think he's won before either, so
Winner,
congratulations.
winner, chicken dinner.
Good, sir. You know what to do, I hope. Email shows@benzinga.com to claim your prize and to claim the glory. Claim the glory. That was weird. Folks, that was fun. I enjoyed playing trivia today.
If you guys have any suggestions for our next topic for trivia, now's your chance to post them in the chat.
Yeah, do that. Do that.
Try to make it somewhat business, finance related, but hey, if not, all good. We may still consider.
Guys, want to see how freaking like ridiculously extra my camera is right now? Like that's my webcam. It's probably got to be like the most badass webcam known to man.
Okay, we get it, Rohan.
What can you do?
All right, check this out. Look at this.
Whoa,
I got like a full-on cinema camera as a webcam.
that's awesome.
So,
Tiny Pie,
quality.
I don't think we're doing Die Hard movies. I think you'd have an unfair advantage. Sports finance, that's a good one. Born to be Free, because I see NFL as well. So
There you go.
we can do like the business side of sports. Like maybe we're doing contracts, how much X stadium costs to build, like how much FTX paid to name Miami's arena, stuff like that.
Dude, I can't believe that. I mean, I grew up going to the American Airlines.
Dude,
Now
it's happening.
FTX.
It's happening all over. I mean, Staples Center is now going to be Crypto.com arena. Like everything is going to be named after some crypto site or some crypto coin.
Here's my question though, is like the Staples Center was the Staples Center for so long, like it was a staple. But I want to know how long like these names are gonna stay, like Crypto.com. Like, are they gonna stay Crypto.com for a long time, or is it gonna be like a year and they're like, cool, we did our marketing thing?
Well, I'm from St. Louis, and Anheuser-Busch is from and headquartered in St. Louis, and so our baseball stadium is Busch Stadium. If that ever changes, whew, I'll be hurt. Because Anheuser-Busch is like by far St. Louis's biggest company. It's like St. Louis's Rocket Mortgage to Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, we had a weird time when they wanted to name our stuff Little Caesars Arena, right? Like that was a huge controversy.
Yeah, yeah. Joe, you go from Joe Louis to and what was the basketball one called? Was it just the,
Crazy Bread. Crazy Bread
That's actually right by where my parents lived. That was the Palace of Auburn Hills. That's where it was.
Right. So it never had a sponsored name.
No, it did not.
I would have loved Crazy Bread Arena, you know.
I wonder though if you're like Staples, if you're the company Staples and say you have the rights for more years, but then Crypto.com comes to you and say, hey, we'll buy out your contract and pay you X amount more of money, like that'd be a pretty good business deal, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Honestly.
Isn't that what SoFi did with SoFi Stadium? They were like, you know what? We need to get our name out there. Let's buy a stadium.
Right. All right, guys. Well, that was fun. Good trivia segment. We do have Nic Chahine. Coming up now, we're going to talk some options. If you've got any questions about options, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we will get to them with Nic. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Nic on the show.
Wow. Man, I feel fancy, but I got two takeaways. Number one, I'm going to start saying I'm gonna. So your other two guests were like way younger than me. Okay, the other one is I love this trivia idea, and I have an idea for you. I'm going to do it for my subscribers. We're going to have like a learn options trivia, just from the very basic questions on. This will be like learn on the fly, forced. You know, I can do all the videos I want. If they don't really pay attention to every answer, they forget half of it by the time they watch it. So maybe this will force them to retain some.
Well, I like you didn't even know, but you're wearing a T-shirt that went along with our trivia segment.
Yeah.
There you
well,
go.
You know, we are a Chevy house. My son builds Chevys, so this is sacrilege. but he's the Ford question was kind of insulting a little bit, like nobody thought of it. But my answer would have been GM. And
for which question?
For the heart pump.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, we could have asked that question with who promised COVID-19 ventilators but sent CPAP machines instead.
Yeah. And it's funny that I was just debating the Ford chart. There are a few people that are still long. I sent out a note to go long like at 7 or 8. And at these levels, I just can't do it.
This guy we have that works with us, his name's Luke Jacoby. He gave
I know
Ford.
Luke.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He gave Ford as his 2021 stock of the year back last January.
That was my pick.
Oh, okay, so
he stole it. No, just kidding. It was one of my picks. GE was another. It was also around $8 or $7.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Well, Nic, if you want to go ahead and share one of your screens,
sure.
I'd love to see what you're watching today, and then we'll take some questions out of the chat as we talk about options. I mean, the guys that are here that watch us, guys and gals that are here that watch us every day, know that I like to trade options, but I probably do it a little bit of a different way than you do.
What do you do?
I just buy calls and puts.
Okay. Well, if you know charts, that's totally okay. And if you're an active trader, that's totally okay. Buying and hoping for things to work out, that's where people get in trouble.
Yeah, I kind of do the latter.
I remember last time I was on, I was sitting in the background, and you guys were discussing specific trades, and you shared some of yours. So next time you want to take a trade, hit me with it. I may join you, but take my opinion on the charts, because really there's people who trade without knowing charts these days are at a disadvantage. I'll give you a perfect example. You asked me what we're doing today. So I have a chat room with Benzinga, Hopefully you have a link somewhere. I didn't bring one. I'm sorry. If you want to join it, it's totally worth it, and I'll show you why. The trade was okay. Earlier today, we were chasing the SPY. Okay, is it going to do? This is a 5-minute chart, so it kind of gives you like minute price action. By the way, this is 1/4 of that screen. The other two is a 1-minute chart, a 30-second chart, and a 15-second chart. And I shared this, and I said, this is your trigger right here to get long. And this is the target with a hiccup at this resistance line. And look where they faded. Right now, they're back to here. So that trade played out for whoever likes to trade fast, buy calls and such. This is a winning trade. The way I traded it, I sold a put spread for the SPX that expires tomorrow, and it's now almost half price to buy back. So that would be my way of not hoping for a rally. All I needed is for it to hold 45 on the SPX, 45.45. So the two styles. But if you're actively trading, come into the chat room or a chat room or get together with a group that knows charts. Then you can actively trade and scalp like 2 or 3 of these a day. 2 days ago, I said, get long Apple. If it breaks, I forget the level, 161.4, 162.1. I can't remember one of these two numbers. It's going to 168, 169. And it did by the next morning. I also said, I'm going along the SPX overnight. And yesterday booked it at the open. And then they said, okay, what about Apple now? I said, we should get out because it has a wall from the open interest. And then this happened to Apple. Headline broke out. Amazing how they break out exactly where they need to. But if you're doing what you're doing, I invite you. You have you're welcome into my room anytime. You know where it is. You just pop in and tell me which charts you want to trade, and we'll actively trade them instead of just buying and hoping it works out. At least buy within a day.
Yeah, I would love that. I think right now my strategy with options, it's kind of like boom or bust. Like it either works out really well for me and I'll get an 100% gainer, or I'll essentially lose all that money on the premium that I paid for the contracts. But I want to focus on kind of like swing trade options, ones that I can open up and hold for a couple days. I don't really have a lot of time throughout the day to be day trading these options. So I don't know. I'm sure you're a little bit more active intraday than
I am not. I personally am not. I am a boring as can be when it comes to trading. I want to take bet. I want to sell losing lottery tickets to people like you. But so I want to find places where price is not going and sell risk there. And then I have odds in my favor, time on my side. All I need is nothing to happen. That's my ideal way of trading. This way I can sprinkle some longs across the board and take a few shorts like on the SPX across the board, like 12 months out if I wanted to, and not have to trade every day. So to answer your question, keep a short list of stocks that are worthy. By that I mean you do homework, you like the stock, you get a beat on it, you know that if the stock market is higher, they're going to be higher, so you're not going to have nasty surprises. And then track their price action. And then when they fall into support, take some longs. However you take longs, you buy shares, you buy calls, you buy call spreads, you sell puts, you sell put spreads. Any combination of those would work. The cheapest way to get long is to sell a put and buy a call spread. Then you're participating with upside. Your out-of-pocket is small. And the worst-case scenario, you own a stock you like at a cheaper price. So that's a strategy that ideal for somebody that likes to swing trade and can't nail the entry and exit. This way you don't have to be, picture perfect, surgical with your entry point. Like for this stock, for example, Palantir. This is a daily chart. The prospect of the company is pretty good. If you do homework, that's step one. Read about the company. The income statement looks pretty strong. They went, from 500 to 1.4 billion. Maybe they bought somebody, maybe they didn't. It's a successful company. The management represents it well. So there's no reason to expect it failing if the markets are not failing themselves. And look, every time I move one tick, the chart moves a whole lot because of this giant tick up there. So if I get it off the screen, the chart's range adjusts dramatically. So buying it into this makes logical sense. However you buy it. Like if I sold a put today on it to own it at 17 or 17 and a half, what's wrong with that? The worst case scenario is I own it 12% lower than today, and I break even lower than this still. So when I sell a put, if I go there This is a practice account. So Chewy was another example today. Somebody asked me in the chat room, and we were addressing. I did a whole video on it to answer them with a trade setup and everything. Whoops. Yeah, I did volunteer. Okay. So January contract. So not that far out. So if I sell this put, if I go, okay, sell this put. This is E-Trade. I'm not recommending it, by the way. It's a questionable platform. So if what does that do when I sell a put? For those who don't know, I'm basically promising the buyer that I will buy their shares at $17.50 at any point in time in the next 50 days. And by the way, it does not have to be below that. It'd be idiotic for them to give me the shares before then. But if I get assigned the shares, that trade with all of its losses would disappear if price was falling, and instead of it, I will have shares at a base cost of $17.50. However, I keep my dollar. So my break-even point is $16.50, not the end of the world for a good company I wanted to own. So that's the type of style of trading. So here, you would buy a call. You said you buy calls or call spreads?
Calls.
Okay, so do you have a specific delta you usually chase? Like how much hopium do you put into your calls?
I don't really look like specifically at the delta.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I suggest you do a few things as a method. Number one, have a stop when you get in. Say, if I go down 20%, I'm out, or whatever percent you're comfortable with. Have a reason to take the trade. Like, oh, it felt good. No, it's falling into support. That's a reason. It's breaking out from prior resistance. That's another reason. I did homework. I found something out that most people don't know about. That's another reason. Now, I think it's going to go up is not a reason. You have to have, I think it's going to go up. Why? And if you do those things, you're on your way to better successes as a method of trading. Now, the second part is when you're buying, okay, it's all about odds in here. And if you don't have the delta column on your options chain, you should have it. It's like the most important one on there because it tells you what your odds are. So if you're buying this one, the odds are against you. It's got about a 25% chance of success, roughly. If you're buying this one, the delta is 0.5-ish. Therefore, it's a coin flip. You have good odds. All you need is a move. You don't need a big move. You just need a move, and you're participating. So stick to deltas that are above 30. If you buy anything below 30, you're starting off with needing a substantial move to make money. Also,
right. So
go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I'll put together a watch list of maybe 5 stocks that I want to trade options on, that I can kind of monitor those stocks and try to implement some of these strategies. Because like you said, my way of doing it with essentially just buying calls or puts and hoping isn't sustainable.
Well, if you're lucky, you could make it work. In an upward moving market, like from the bottom of the pandemic, everybody made money. You
right.
Whatever you bought went up.
Well, that's actually how I started trading options. Was before that, I was watching what was going on around the world, saw the news coming out of Italy, and I would turn on CNBC and they would say, "Oh, don't worry about it. COVID-19's not coming here. Don't sell your stocks." And I was like, "Well, bullshit." And I went out and bought. I had Nick. I'll tell you what. I had about $800 in my Robinhood account that I transferred from my checking account. I was working at a golf course at the time in college, and turned that $800 into about 10 grand after buying all these puts on Darden, Exxon, like these different oil companies.
Smart.
And I was like, this is easy. I can do that. I was making like $2 grand a day, short everything, and I kept everything short. And when the market turned around, I ended up losing a good chunk of that. So yeah, I mean that's one of those situations where you do it once at the beginning and you think you're an expert.
So let me amend my method to you. You put a stop loss and a stop gain, if you want to call it that. So like for crypto, I'm trading crypto. I'm not an expert in crypto. I'm just trading the charts, and I've had good success. I've missed out on upside. So if I bought something and it moves 30%, I book it, and I'm okay with it going to doubling without me. I'm totally okay with that. So if you do that, then they can't take away those profits from you. At least take the initial investment out. So add that to your, must do this. You have to have a system in order to be successful if you want to do this, not as a job, but like a pro. You want pro habits. How about this? You want to have the professional habits in order to have better successes and beat somebody. Don't be a sheeple. That's a word we made up in our chat room. I think Dave in my chat room and I were chatting one time. We came up with it. Sheeple. It's like people who just follow the herd. In options, that's a sure way of guaranteeing you nothing better than mediocre results at best, and being the last person in and the last person out. So do your homework and have a set system. So here's the thing. I've been trading this stuff for a long time. So I've seen stints where, pops are sold rather than dips are bought. And if you buy calls and nothing but calls, it's extremely hard to actually make money, and frustrating even on up days. So if I sold a put and you bought a call and the stock market takes 2 or 3 days down, my put may be in trouble, but all I need is stabilization and I'm okay. You actually need stabilization and an immediate recovery. Otherwise, your calls are dead. So these days, just buying calls is very dangerous. Buying a call spread is better. And by the way, when the VIX is up that high, buying anything is expensive. So let's say you buy a call. Tomorrow, the markets roar. The VIX collapses. Much of that call premium disappears, and you're saying, why am I not making more money on my calls? That's because they were offset by the crush of the VIX. So buying single legs is expensive. To neutralize it, you do a spread, because you're buying something and you're selling something else, also expensive. So that expensive part goes away, gets neutralized to a degree.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, I think out of all the different variables to look at when putting on some of these contracts, at least for myself, the VIX is one that to me is important, and it kind of like inherently makes sense, right? If VIX is high, that's going to raise the implied volatility, which is going to make the contract more expensive.
The VIX is priced off the options prices. So it's like chicken and egg thing.
Right.
So the VIX is priced off
sense.
the options. So yeah, a high VIX means that everything is expensive. So take advantage of that. You mentioned implied volatility, and I mentioned Chewy. Let's marry those two comments. So earlier somebody said, is this a good time to buy Chewy? And here's my response on that. I said, alone, sure, it's falling into support, but I would stop out at this. So this is a buyable dip. But you have to consider two things. One, the overall markets, they're having a tizzy. I think we'll shake it off. And so you can take a long, but you don't go all in, because your conviction should be penalized right away on purpose, by design. Hey, I think I'm right, but what the hell's going on with this goddamn market? So I need to leave a question mark. And second, it's that E there. So what do you know that's going to tell you what people are going to do? The earnings reports have crushed last year's performance. There's hardly one bad earnings report. Reactions are so negative. On most big stocks have fallen severely on really powerful results, absolute results. Like, the point of being in business is to do better than last year. I didn't see one company that didn't crush that. And the year before that, Zoom grew. If you look at sales, they grew by a lot. So,
but the stock was still down like 20%. Yeah, because okay, I see what you're saying.
So Zoom, I'll tell you a little bit something about Zoom. But anyway, so let's finish this train of thought. The earnings report is coming up, so that makes it a coin flip overnight. I can't tell you how people are going to react to it, how the machines will trade it the day after. Not even the CEO. They know the results. They know what they're going to say in the call. They have no clue what the market's going to do with it. So it's a coin flip overnight. So why should I go and take a big bet on Chewy? So I shouldn't buy a call. Like somebody, what is it? This is Chewy. Look, today somebody lost 10% of their money on a 2% drop for January if they bought calls yesterday. So if they bought a call spread, the pain would be much smaller out of pockets. Okay, it's limited upside, but when you have so many questions, you can't be emphatic that it's up, and away. There's no way. I mean, that's not healthy. Overall, in the long term, in a normal market, the best results are when you follow a system and you are balanced. I want to say in the last week, just before the market started falling, I sent out a note. I share trades, and almost daily. And one of the videos said, "Okay, there's no trade today. I want to remind you of how to buy insurance for your portfolio. You buy a VIX call at current price." That was before the spike. So whoever did that, they had a huge profit to offset some of the losses just from the VIX. I said, if you can't deal with the VIX, because I don't think it's available on all platforms, then I would buy a debit put spread in the SPY, and it's all in the money now. And then I sent it again like a couple of days later, and those trades also yielded profits. So you have to keep balance in your book. Otherwise, you're too one-sided, and you probably, not you personally, but you probably haven't been trading long enough to see stints where they don't bounce, even when it makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I got a couple things. We've only got about 4 minutes left up, but I like how couple. I know time flies when you're having fun. A couple minutes ago, you said something about essentially having like a stop on the upside as well, which is something that I know I could have benefited from at times, because there'll be times where I'm watching an options contract that I have that's up 50, 60, 70%, and I get greedy and I hold on to it, and the next day it's down. I'm actually losing money on it.
I'll use the SPX example. Earlier, a few hours ago, I said, I'm taking this trade using the SPX, except I'm selling a put spread, not buying calls. People in the chat room, most of them bought calls. A few of them sold a put spread as well. I said, when it got to here, I said, I have half my maximum profits already. I'm either taking it off or selling a call spread against it to make it into an iron condor for tomorrow. I said, if you like drama, you can do that and capture potentially more money, reduce the amount of money at risk, but then you have to deal with it tomorrow during expiration day. So yes, you have to set a target. So put what suits your personality. I'm conservative, and I'm okay seeing something run without me. Some people, it's like they're allergic to it. No, I can't do it.
So, I think I need to get in that mode, because if you rack up those 10, 20, 30% gain winners, it doesn't matter if you miss out on 100% winner, because you're gonna have the accumulation of all those, let's say 15% winners. If you have, I don't know, say 15% winners a week, then you're looking at 30% a week. You're beating the markets by hundreds of a percent.
If you want to trade weekly, I share like 10 iron condors a week, 8 to 10. I skipped them this week because of obvious reasons. But those will bring in weekly income if somebody's active. And for me, I would specialize in one, like the SPX. And you sell a put spread, you sell a call spread, both statistically viable at about 85%. And you really need an outstanding week in movement to lose. And if you do lose, it's finite. And if you do it over a whole year, they work 80 to 95% of the time. So they're worth the trouble, but they're not for everybody. So yeah, you need a system, you need the target exit point, whether it's bad or good. Otherwise, how do you know when to get out? That's where you get caught with you had so many profits from your puts and you didn't take them. Then you ended up flipping them.
Right. All right. My last question for you, Nic, is so can you go ahead and pull up Robinhood's chart, ticker HOOD?
Oh, yeah.
So for a stock like this where you don't have previous support and resistance levels, do you just like stay away from that? Or how do you find, okay, this could be a good time to go long?
Okay, so usually I need to look left and see where it stopped last. In this case, it or AI, which I had questions about today, they're falling machetes, and there's nothing to refer. There's no reference. So the stop point was here, and this tells us it has downside, and the downside size it tells us is enormous because of this enormous Skype. So I usually just cut that out and say that it probably could fall into the low teens before they're satisfied. Now, if I'm long the stock, it's too late to quite panic out of it. If I want to get long the stock, I should acknowledge that it is a falling machete, therefore a speculative bet. And I should take a risk on it if I want to, but say if it goes against me 20, 30%, 15, whatever you're comfortable with, I should be out regardless of how tempting it is to and the biggest rule in your rule book should be, I don't average down. Okay? This means you make your problem bigger. If you want to average down, instead average in. So if you usually take 10 contracts, take 5, leaving room to add lower. Therefore, you're not increasing risk. You're just diffusing the risk. Averaging in is fine. Averaging down I don't know any professional traders that do it. Like real.
I love that because we talk about dollar cost averaging a lot when buying shares, and I don't think we talk about it enough when we're talking about options. So I love that you incorporate that. Nic, I've got the links in the chat to both the Inner Circle chat room, which is within Benzinga Pro, as well as the Premium Ideas, which is a newsletter. We do have a special going on today on both of those products, so go check those out if you're interested in getting more information from Nic.
I encourage you to trade with friends, make up your own group, join a successful group. Our group is growing in total fun. There's not one jerk in there. Well, except for, no, I'm just kidding. But everybody's saying, oh shit, you mentioned me. No. All right, I appreciate this. This is fun. I can't believe it. It's gone? What?
I know. We'll get you back on next week. Well, actually,
no, next week is your guys are having something else. So it's
we have a small cap conference. So the following week, or maybe we'll find a day next week that we can get you on, because I love this. I love this content. I know we have our audience loves it as well.
So next time we should just do a fast fire chart session. I'm always up for that. Yeah,
let's do it. Yeah, we'll have everyone throw tickers in the chat. We'll bring up charts. We'll see what Nic sees. We'll see how he would play those with options.
Yep.
Again, like Nic said, find a group to trade with. And not just some group of a bunch of me's where everyone's talking about YOLO trading this put or this call. Find a group that really wants to learn a better strategy, wants to learn how to become sustainable winning trades. I saw someone threw a comment in the chat a while ago about TA isn't going to be 100%. Of course not. Any serious technical analysis will not tell you that this is 100%. No. It's not about being 100%. It's about winning more than you're losing.
It's about avoiding the major mistakes and having a thesis. It works on 3-month chart. This was the DAX. It works on 5-minute charts, which is what I just showed you with the SPY. It's the same concept.
Beautiful. All right, Nic. Well, thank you for joining us. Like I said, I look forward to getting you back on again soon.
Absolutely.
I know you're going to take me to the promised land of becoming a better options trader, and there are some folks out there as well that might want to join us on that journey.
You have my contact info. Hit me up.
I will do. All right, guys, that was Nic Chahine. Like I said, if you're interested in joining the group, it's in the chat as well as the newsletter. We got to wrap. It's time for the roadmap, our very own NFT show. Real quick before we go, I'm going to ask you guys one last time to smash that like if you have not already, as well as if you missed it earlier, we put out an ask for some free Benzinga swag. So if you want some free Benzinga swag, essentially all you have to do is send an email to your brokerage telling them how much you enjoy reading Benzinga news, how you want to see more Benzinga news. Then you send us an email with a screenshot of that to shows@benzinga.com. I'm throwing that in the chat. And we will send you a free piece of swag from our swag store. We've got some nice, ugly Christmas sweaters, some Benzinga beanies, so some good swag for the wintertime. All right, y'all. One last time, smash the like. You want a free piece of swag? Email Robinhood. Not email them. Submit a contact. Email us, and we'll get you that swag. All right, guys. Stick around for the roadmap. This stream will automatically redirect you. Peace and love. I will see you guys tomorrow.